Minister Abiy Ahmed. Elsewhere, if you've experienced this, power distributor Kenya Power has apologized to its customers following a technical glitch that affected its prepaid system. The firm says vending of tokens remains slow due to a high number of customer transactions. It has, however, assured its clients that it's working to restore normalcy. And finally, Family Group Foundation will spend 30 million shillings on scholarships for bright KCP candidates from needy backgrounds who are joining Form 1 this year. The funds, the group says, will benefit more than 100 students in 11 counties. That's more than 100 students, that's correct, in 11 counties. Right, now you're up to date. So let's talk about this. We are hoping to continue with a series from time to time of emerging businesses, many that are disrupting the traditional way of doing things. And this is just the first of that series that we have embarked in here on Business Now. So if you know of any, please do let us know. The hashtag is Business Now. But for today, we're talking about two things. One, Airbnbs and, containers. Many people are now making offices, homes, hotels from container homes. That's moving away from the traditional brick and mortar sector. Like we told you a little earlier on, my guests are here with me in studio this afternoon, starting with on my extreme left, Richard Mjomba, who's a partner at the Red Container. Thank you so much for making time. And Ali Wainaina, who's the CEO of Containers 254 Limited. So they kind of met at some point, and we'll talk about that nexus, but they're also doing, a bit of disruption in their respective fields. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Ali, let me begin with you. So container homes, talk to us about this and how different this is from the traditional, brick and mortar, unajenga, you put a foundation and, you bring it up. So talk to us about this and how it works exactly.
Well, Yvonne, containers now of age is a new concept that people are taking up now. If you've interacted with the tagline, it's called unique and disruptive construction. Mm-hmm. So being a young generation, we of course are embracing a new solution. We are no longer in that age where we had the old architectural design. We had rigidity in design. We couldn't, you remember there's that instance where a lot of people lost their homes in Syokimau. Mm-hmm. But now with containers, you can actually even move because now they are portable.
Okay.
Yes.
So a lot of people say it is cheaper mm-hmm. than if you were to construct with brick and mortar. Yes. Is it? And if so, mm-hmm. what are some of those costs that, are far removed if you were to choose a container?
A container is cheaper in the sense that you already have 4 walls in place. The other aspect, of course, be in line with the president's affordable housing. If you look at the materials we are using, even the getting it to sites is really, really easy.
So also no foundation, I imagine?
Definitely the foundation. Like the foundation in a brick and mortar, you need a slab.
Yeah. For
us, you only need 4 pillars.
Okay.
Or depending on the number of containers you're using. But the cost would be almost, on foundation, you're saving almost 70%.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. How about regulations? If for anyone who's been in the construction industry and who's done that, yes. Then you know that typically you would have to, first of all, get an architect, yes. Pay them and then yes. get that. And then you would have to take your building plans, to the National Construction Authority yes. and to the respective county government. Is that the same with you? Take us through the steps of if I came to you and I said, I want a 1-bedroom house.
Yes.
What would be the steps towards getting that approved? What would I have to pay? How different is that from what we usually know?
So for us, we already have an in-house architect. How once you come to a place, you have a sit down with the architect. They understand your specifications and design. Then that the drawing that you get is what you're going to take for approvals. But now
the architect does what? I mean,
the design.
Design of, because we're used to an architect who does, you know what I mean?
It's almost similar. It's almost similar in the sense that the clients we have now actually are doing very unique designs.
Okay.
That you can only do with an architect.
Okay.
For example, with the concept that we have with the man caves and the divas den, you'll find they're very varied designs.
Okay,
yes.
And we'll talk a little bit about
yes,
that.
True.
Yeah. So you get an architect?
Yes, you get the architect, they will do the drawing, then we send it for approval. But the beauty about it, this is almost a temporary structure. So it does not go all the long process. of having approvals.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then construction begins.
Begins.
All right.
The timelines, of course, will take about 45 days to build even a mansionette.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then building on that,
Mm-hmm.
then Richard, you guys decided to start an Airbnb,
Exactly.
and you made it out of a container.
Yes, we did.
So it's disruption times two, I guess.
Times two, yes.
But talk to us about you know, Red Container, what it is you do specifically, and why you believe it's a disruption.
All right, thank you so much for having me in your show. First of all, there are many people who are looking at options of owning their own business, knowing how to start it from start to end, but most importantly, what are the cost implications when you're looking at it in the long term. So the very first thing you have to do is probably a background check on either whether you want to do brick and mortar, and in our case, container homes, or rather container direction.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, the container direction has been amazing simply because when you look at the overseas market, they're looking at it as a fad, more or less. It's more or less something new and disruptive. And that's why we got sold into the idea at the very beginning, simply because our general aspect was to capture into the market of adventure-seeking generation. And you're finding a lot of bikers, a lot of getaway people who want to just get away from the normal. They're just finding an escape there.
Yeah, so advantages of an Airbnb such as yours over a hotel, why do you think this is growing over the hotel industry? So the traditional, I would go to a big hotel and, you know,
And get away from it.
and get away from everything, yeah.
Well, first and foremost, the main advantage of having your own space as compared to a hotel is the fact that you can create whichever wonder you want to create, as compared to what a hotel has already prescribed for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have an advantage of having your own personal space, especially given our side. You have your own personal space set away from everything else, and you can own all that space for an entire whole period of time, depending on what you want to achieve or your period of time there, as compared to traditional hotels where your stay is defined by already set norms that have been running for years. So what we're trying to do is to create something different and give you an experience that will last a lifetime, as compared to just a place where you can lay your head.
Okay, can we talk about the regulations in your sector?
For sure.
Topmost being digital service tax, because you're on an Airbnb platform.
But of course.
So tell us about that, and you know, what your thoughts are, and also all the other regulations that are required in your sector.
Fine. So one of the main things I think over a month ago, there hasn't been any strenuous regulations within this locality that are tying down Airbnbs, but like I told you, it's a month ago right now. If you want to own your own container or Airbnb unit, you have to be incorporated into a limited. That's already 30% incorporation tax.
Okay.
You're also looking at 16% VAT on top of that. There's also something called 1% in DST,
Yeah.
but I think most of these are items that you can always see, you can check out. But there's one thing I want to, apart from the levy, which is there at about 2%, there's something else that the government imposes. It's more or less an annual pay. So at the end of the year, at the end of your annual year, you'll always have to pay 26,000. So that's like 2,000 in a month. That's on top of now the social media marketing and whatnot. So you'll probably looking at a high expense. But then again, when you look at the other side, the returns are quite high, considering the main factor being the cost of production of owning the unit is quite low.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How busy are you? How often are you booked?
Well,
I mean, like, is there a great uptake of
Absolutely.
Airbnbs to people?
Absolutely.
And then who tell us about your clientele? Are they young people, middle-aged? Are
That's
they
amazing.
wealthy people? Are they?
Well, let me put it this way. First of all, the amazing thing about the Red Container is that it's completely affordable. And so we welcome clients from different sectors and different backgrounds, different financial institutions. So we've been booked forever.
Oh, okay.
But the best thing about it is that there's business because people love the idea of getting into a container unit and experiencing that experience for the first time. We're having guys who are coming from the high-end market area who want to experience it, to own their own homes, and probably that they want to invest in it. We also have young goers, easy game seekers. They want to get away from the hustle and bustle of Nairobi, and given that is the main reason why people want to get away from everything. It makes the it makes the whole situation better. Considering, I mean, young guys love getaways. I mean, you love getaways, don't you?
Can't afford it yet.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Maybe one day when I grow up.
See what you did there.
But yes, but hopefully, yeah, you know, one of these days. Let me talk to you about uptake.
Yes.
Individuals, is it commercial? What's the mix of your clientele? Who's it more of?
Actually, it's a cocktail. Because now, if we are looking for solutions like offices, you find we are getting a lot of that on commercial. But residential also, guys have really embraced it. Like now, with what I had slightly mentioned and what Richard is talking about, the aspect of getaways, the youth have really taken it up. And you find like now we are almost fully booked with people coming to ask for it as compared to those ages back then.
Let's see, for a standard maybe 3-bedroom house.
Yes.
How many containers would one need?
That you'll need about, we are talking about 2 40-foot containers. Yes. It will be a little bit spacious.
And then you lay them alongside each other, or like?
There are so many ways, there's so many designs you can choose from.
That depends on the design.
That's the beauty about, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about inside? Like how do you, because this is, do you get people that ask questions like, "Sitaki kuishi kwa nyumba ya mabati?"
Every day.
So what is it about inside? And I know we're showing some of the footage of just how you do this.
Yes.
But take us through how you make this container livable.
So there are 2 steps, because now we are addressing the issue of insulation.
Yeah.
So what we do, at gypsum, we have gypsum, which is a very good insulator against harsh temperatures, whether too cold or too hot. But then again, we have now styrofoam that we use. Before we clad with gypsum, now we do the styrofoaming. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yes. The styrofoam that we know for packaging of
almost similar.
Of goods,
yes.
Almost
yes.
similar.
Yes.
Would some say that that makes it even more expensive because there's quite a bit of work you do towards making these containers habitable?
Significantly, but not as compared to brick and mortar.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We are, if you're looking at the costings, the cost variation will be around 20% cheaper than brick and mortar.
20% cheaper.
Yes.
What about you when it comes to you know, the National Construction Authority? What's the sort of relationship you have with that regulator, you know, as well as others?
Yes, that one you have to get it starting from levels 6 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the scope of business you're handling.
Absolutely. And so you would actually take your plans as well to the National Construction Authority?
Yes, we do.
In addition to the county government?
Yes, but sometimes you might find even the clients, before they even bring to you, they've already taken up. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And
that is obviously on the client. That's their responsibility to make sure that that happens.
Yes.
Tell us about getting listed on Airbnb.
All right.
How that works for those who are saying, yeah, maybe, you know, I have an apartment or something, and what's the procedure like, and how's that working for you? You know, in a different sector, like Uber, which is pretty much the same as Airbnb, whilst it has caused disruption, we hear of you know, complaints in that sector about just how much money they're getting. But could you give us the experience about one, getting listed on Airbnb, and whether this has helped you get more clients that you wouldn't otherwise have had access to? Definitely.
Well, we thank God for innovation and technology. We majorly look at our Airbnb as an innovative unit. And so the process of getting into Airbnb is quite simple. It's almost similar like getting into Uber and any other online service. You just have to pay, of course, 1,000 shillings, I think, registration. And given the current state of your Airbnb, I usually always look at the other side before I get into the regulation and the charges, of which, of course, you can own an Airbnb, but running it is where the real magic happens. About probably what you need to know, I would always encourage guys to do the background check, because the Airbnbs majorly focus on location, on area. So if you're in an area where your clients are not, they cannot access, or there's there's no other any other feature that can attract people to that site, I always advise the clients to find something that's attractive enough to bring guys all the way there. And about the returns, definitely the returns depend on how you are setting up your business. I look at Airbnbs just like Uber, just like how you're setting up your own small business. So if you look at it that way, you would know how much you want to make in a certain period of time. You define your rates and you define your clientele, and your rates define your clientele all the same. So look at your amenities, look at what you're bringing into the table, something different, something dynamic. And once you have that on the table, people are receptive to it, especially if you do correct targeted marketing to it. People are receptive. And that's the platform. The Airbnb gives us that platform very well.
Let's speak about COVID-19 because that, in some ways, has helped Airbnbs
100%.
due to the fact that we can't congregate in big numbers at hotels. Like
Yes.
it would look like the big hotel experience is something that is not preferred right now, obviously with the protocols, and you have benefited. So first of all, has this benefited you during the COVID-19 period? What has business been like?
100%. I would say that whilst others looked at COVID as a bone on the back or a stuck at the back, we looked at it as an opportunity. And right now, everyone is stuck in their homes. Hotels are closed, restaurants are closed. There's nowhere to go, and you get. I usually imagine this scenario of a young man in a family, and you have your wife yelling, your kids yelling. You want to get away from all of that. Airbnbs provide that solution. They make it easy for you to just get away from the norm, disrupt your mind a little bit, have a relaxed time, then come back to your norm. And the best thing about it is that because of COVID, of course, we have maintained our cleanliness, our standards, and sanitary standards are, of course, high and up to par. But when you look at now general hotels, of course, they've been mostly affected, and guys are looking at other options. People have to, still people have to go places. They have to rest, chill, talk. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll come back because I have a follow-up question
Sure.
to that. How about you? What has the COVID-19 period been like for your business?
It's been good in the sense that most of our clients now have time to really focus on what really matters. That is one of them being getting a house for your family, getting a roof for your family. And they're looking at now solutions that are fast enough, and container being one of them really is a good option for them. The other option in terms of what Richard has been talking about, so many people are finding it very hard to work from home. So we've come up with a solution for that. We have something called the office pods. So if you have some space in your backyard, you just come with a container, say about a 10 by 10. It's customized to your specifications, and you get your peace of mind working from that solution.
Okay.
So that space, yeah.
Okay, so continue to think of solutions in that sector. I want us to take a break here on Business Now. We have much to discuss, like what the future looks like for these emerging businesses, and how will they remain sustainable, even though they seem to be thriving during the COVID-19 pandemic. But what lies ahead? Keep your feedback coming at Citizen TV Kenya, at Yvonne Okwara. I'm seeing here one from Zelina Media. You're saying great show. We can partner with some of the emerging businesses and grow together. We'd like to build our first office using the containers. Well, there you go. So that's some good stuff. Keep it coming. The hashtag is Business Now. We come back. We have much more to discuss. We're calling this the emerging businesses sector, and we'll be right back with more.